So hey everybody. The first time I tried to explain Kanban, I got a little bit excited. And a colleague of mine asked me a serious question if I was pitching a new superhero. To be honest, I was a little bit excited, and it felt like I was introducing a Captain Kanban, a hero who can save our day from a chaotic workflows. Today, I hope it will be much better. I will try, at least. My name is Vita. I am an engineering director at Mews, and today I'm going to talk about our journey from Scrum to Kanban and beyond. And if you came here today and you do expect that you will hear exact hints, exact steps, how you can do similar changes in your team, I will disappoint you. I am not doing this. I can't share exact hints because each team is different. Each team has different needs. Because when you do those changes, you do it differently in a team of 10 people. You will do it slightly differently in a team of 50 people. You will do it very differently in a team of hundreds of people. And it will be a very complex challenge in a team of thousands of people. The context matters. But no worries, I will share some ingredients of the success. And because the context is important, let me set the context at the beginning for our company. At Mews, we are a software company, and we have been working on property management system. It is the most important software in each hotel. You need to manage reservations. You need to manage billing, invoicing, guest profiles, all those things. Back in 2022, we had around 3,000 hotels around the globe. We were in more than 50 countries around the globe, and we were in each time zone. So the availability and reliability is critical. We had around 500 employees at Mews, and the important thing is that we have continuous delivery and deployment. Twice a day, we deploy new version of the application for all our customers. So they need to be able to use the system. And also, we have more than 1,000 integration partners who are running their businesses on top of our business. So the reliability and availability is really critical. All that was tackled by 18 teams, 15 product teams, 3 platform teams, including product manager, engineering managers, backend engineers, front-end engineers, mobile engineers, data scientists, data analysts, and many more. Back those days, we used only Scrum. It was the default methodology we used. We had basic ceremonies like grooming, sprint planning, sprint reviews, retros. Each team was at different level of maturity. The quality of each team was a little bit different. Interesting piece is that the rest of our company, content team, marketing team, customer support team, they built their processes on top of the R&D. They had deep understanding of Scrum. They were able to see what features are coming. They were able to see when some feature is going to be delivered. So changing the way of working could negatively impact the whole company. And maybe you are asking why we wanted to get rid of Scrum. We actually didn't want to get rid of Scrum. It's too strong title of this presentation. Our motivation was that one flow doesn't fit needs of 18 teams. The methodology is here to support your teams, and doesn't make sense to force all your people to work in the same way. We had a couple of teams that were responsible for integrations and public APIs. Those teams were not able to predict how many tickets are coming in upcoming days. Therefore, naturally, those teams were not able to plan properly. And we ended up with a lot of semi-finished sprints. We just took over leftovers and pushed them into other sprint, and the other sprint, and the other sprint. And we were not able to change the way as we were working because we didn't understand. And also, the other motivation was to be framework agnostic. It doesn't matter what frameworks, methodologies your teams are using. It can be Scrum, it can be Kanban, it can be ShapeUp. So we wanted to build a way how we can support the teams and they can do their decisions. The first time we started talking about Kanban, leadership got scared. immediately. It was like physical body reaction because they didn't know what it was. They didn't know what to expect. And they were scared that the whole company will collapse because of Kanban. Oh, how we are going to predict, how we are going to estimate. We will lose visibility. Our reports going to be broken. It was like we told them we are taking away everything from them because they didn't understand. Oh, we all are going to die because you are touching our Scrum. And I'm not surprised, because if I were in the leadership back those days, I would be scared too. Because when we started talking to our teams, our developers, we discovered a lot of wrong assumptions because developers didn't understand. The first wrong assumption, yeah, there is no estimation needed in Kanban. Let's start doing Kanban. No meetings, no bureaucracy. Kanban is great. I'm going to use anything than Scrum. Let's do it. We can do whatever we want. Anarchy, as I said. If I was in the leadership, I would be scared too, because those wrong messages were sent in our company. And as I promised, I'm going to share some ingredients of the success. Those are hints, ideas, what we tried, and it worked for us, and maybe you can take them as inspiration. As I said before, leadership got scared because they didn't understand. Our developers didn't understand. And when you don't understand, you are scared. You don't want to do changes because you don't know what will happen. So how we can actually fix it? You need to get someone who understands. Back in 2022, we didn't have any Scrum Masters. We didn't have any Agile coaches. Our engineering managers were responsible for everything. For managing teams, for project management, for agility, estimations, for everything. And as is usual in each software company, everything needs to be done yesterday. It's too late. Our engineering managers didn't have a time to improve their knowledge. So we hired a Agile coach. And when he started observing, and he started coming with some topics. And one topic was, we were too much focused on estimations. We spent actually more time discussing how we can estimate instead of doing meaningful things. And it's a problem in each team and each software company, because estimation is, wow. And should I use hours estimation? Should I use story points? Should I use Fibonacci? Should I use t-shirt size? Really, it's not important. You should focus how you can improve your teams and not spending time on talking about estimations. We were too rigid about ceremonies. As I mentioned at the beginning, some teams were responsible for public APIs and having incoming customer defects. And because we were not able to fix it, because we didn't understand how, we really strictly forced, oh, this is a sprint, this is how you need to use it, you need to have sprint goals, but it didn't work well for those teams. Some ceremonies were done incorrectly. We didn't have proper grooming, or maybe we kicked off new sprint without clear idea what we wanted to do. So it really didn't work. And we were missing basic concepts, work in progress limits, understanding data like cycle time, lead time, and so on. And we had to fix it somehow. And we made a decision that we are going to fix it by organizing a workshop. The workshop became an enabler. We talked about history of Scrum. We talked about history of Kanban, where it is coming from Toyota manufacturer. We talked a lot about process visualization. So we talk to teams, we try to understand their needs, processes, we visualize it, we draw it on the whiteboard, so we really understood what team needs. We talked about basic rules, like from right to left in Kanban. We talked about work in progress limits, how you can limit your focus, how many tickets you can have in progress at the same time, epics at the same time, and so on. And we talked about metrics, age time, cycle time, lead time, how long how long it takes to deliver customer values, and so on. We played a lot of agile games. My favorite one, the coin game, when you need to move coins from your table to the other table, and the more coins you have on your table, the longer it takes, and so on. And we talk a lot about the art of shuhari in Kanban. On this slide, I will share another recommendation. Be agile about your agile. In many software companies, people talk about proof of concepts, delivering quickly proof of concept to production to verify your assumptions, to make sure that you are working on the things that are important. And you need to do it in the same way when you are changing processes. So we started at the beginning with the idea and the problem. Scrum really didn't fit our needs. So we started doing discovery, as you do in product engineering. We started talking to developers, what do they expect? We started talking to leadership. We started talking about the tooling, because tooling is very important. Tooling needs to support your needs. And then we delivered the first prototype, and we deployed it to production, as in software engineering. We had the first team that was started using Kanban, and we were able to inspect and adapt. We were able to see how it works, what we were missing in the reporting, what we were missing, in the knowledge, and we were able to do quick iteration. They shared the feedback, we improved the way how we did it, we deploy it again to production, we verify our assumptions, and then we were able to go to general availability, as in your software. So be agile about your agile. As I mentioned before, the tooling is really important. And this is another hint. Make sure that your tooling that you are using will support your needs. In our case, as a ticketing system, we use YouTrack by JetBrains. Does anyone know YouTrack by JetBrains? It's a great tool. You can do a lot of customization. You can write a lot of automations in JavaScript. You can play with the UI. You can introduce custom fields. But back those days, the YouTrack wasn't a good fit for Kanban, because the YouTrack was missing basic concepts. We were not able to use subcolumns in YouTrack. We were not able to see work in progress limits. So developers actually didn't see how many tickets they have in progress, in expedite line, and so on. We were not able to use swim lines, and we were missing basic data. No age time. So there were tickets that were aging on the board, but there was no number. There was no sign how old the ticket was. And the reporting was really bad. There were no reports for Kanban. So you were not able to use cycle time report. You were not able to basically do and get insights. But as I mentioned before, YouTrack is really a nice tool because you can do a lot of automations. So we basically built a plugin for the YouTrack by ourselves. So we built the plugin, we modified the UI, we did a lot of custom calculation. It wasn't perfect, but it was good to go. And again, it's never will be perfect. Let's push your ideas to production and see how it works. Metrics, another hint for you. You need to make sure that you have insights, you have visibility, because your manager needs to see what you are working on, the manager of your manager needs to see what you are working on, and the manager of your manager needs to be able to see what's going on. Metrics are critical. As I mentioned on the previous slide, YouTrack didn't work well because we didn't have anything built in, so we had to make sure that we have some data in the different platform. In our case, it was Power BI. We connected Power BI through the API to YouTrack, and we were able to start measuring everything that we needed. So we had cycle time data, we had lead time, we had the investment into the roadmap. So in our case, we measured contribution to product roadmap, scalability roadmap, and how much you spent on keep the lights on. So you need to tackle some incoming defects. The recommendation here is make sure in advance that the tooling, again, supports your need and you have the visibility. Because if you don't have visibility, you can't gain the trust, because people will not trust you that you are working on the right things, and they will not believe you. So the metrics and visibility is super important. So we did the investigation, we had the solution, and we were finally deploy our proposal into the production. So we were able to run the new framework, we were able to inspect and adapt. And we started slowly. We had only one team using the Kanban, and the HR coach was joining their meetings. He was there, he was available, he was observing how the team was doing. If they didn't know how to do certain things, he unmuted himself and helped them. If they did break the rule from right to left, he helped them. Why are you doing this? He supported them. Because playing agile games, it's fun, but it's not the reality. Because when you are in the reality, there are blockers coming in, and your work in progress are broken because you need to take the blocker as an expedited item. And this is something that you really need to experience. So that's the reason our agile coach joined all their ceremonies and made sure that they do it in the right way. The team was continuously improving. We were able to get data, hints from them. We were able to improve the framework, the YouTrack data. And the most important thing was that company started understanding that Kanban didn't break anything. Because they started seeing that, hey, the team actually works. Other departments were not impacted. We have the data, we have visibility. Those teams are actually delivering the value. So we were gaining trust in our company. And if you think that you are done right now, that finally we have a Kanban in place, I will disappoint you again. Because it's not only about introducing Kanban, it's about scaling. As I said at the beginning, teams need to have frameworks or methodologies that support them. So it's not only about Kanban, it's also about other things. Right now, we have 500 people in the development. We have 30 product teams in total. We have 3 different methodologies in place. We have teams using Scrum, we have teams using Kanban, we have teams using ShapeUp, and we have teams using Scrumban. I actually didn't put it as a 4, because Scrumban is not official framework, but actually we have 4. And it's really important that you think in the way that you are framework agnostic. As you are growing, and your company is growing, you have more and more developers and teams. They can have different needs. They need to be able to choose the right thing for them. And you shouldn't care if it's Kanban or Scrum or whatever it is, because there might be a new framework in upcoming 2 years, and you need to be ready to have it in your company. So we built something like public API, public contract. We said, okay, we do expect those data from teams, but how teams running their team, how engineering managers and teams provide those data, it doesn't matter. They can use Scrum, they can use Kanban, and they are able to share with us data, metrics, everything that we need. If I should do a summary, then I would say the learning is the most important key. If people do not understand what's going on, they are scared, they will not follow you, because they will not understand what's happening and what are your intentions. The fear and ignorance block progress. Be ready to scale. You need to support your company. Think in the way that teams can use whatever they want, because each team is different and each team has different needs. Start with the experiment. Be agile about your agile. Do baby steps so you can really validate your assumptions, and you can learn, you can inspect and adapt, which is very important rule in Kanban or agility. Inspect and adapt. And my favorite agile coach says, a person who never made a mistake has never tried anything new. Be bored and help improve your teams. Thank you.